Hello and welcome to another edition of Goal Line Gossip. This is our Fallout show where we will be talking about matches from the weekend, and specifically in this episode we'll be focusing on Manchester United, of course, because of whatever is happening with Manchester United. As a fan, I feel horrible. It almost seems like deja vu as well. I mean, if I had to think of what happened to Solskjaer and what happened to the club around Solskjaer, just a year and a half back, it is so shocking to see that we are sort of getting into that sort of a phase again, like the same kind of turmoil where players are giving up. The scores, the results are really pathetic. The position in the league is really bad. Of course, Champions League is long gone, and there are dressing room leaks, as we have seen very recently. So that has come up as well, where players have said that they don't trust the managers. And of course, like as a United fan, this is not new for me. I've seen it under other managers as well, very recently. So we will discuss those points. We will talk about the match against Newcastle. We'll touch up on that, and we'll also talk about Chelsea, whom we are facing tomorrow, somewhere in the afternoon, like my time. But yeah, thanks for joining, Kloppite. We have a Liverpool fan today, so it's going to be an interesting show and see what you have to say, your opinion around United and whatever is happening. Because, I mean, again, like we all know, Manchester United is one of those clubs we should have a Netflix show. I keep on saying, like, it's so dramatic. Every loss, every win is supported by some kind of weird, dramatic news in the media, and everybody's either talking about
You would have
Harry
made a
Maguire.
lot of money if you had like the Amazon Prime, that thing, like which Arsenal and
Exactly.
Spurs had.
Exactly. But
So much
the
more
point
money.
is, we did not make money. We don't have money. The club is for sale. We will probably get a new owner in a week's time or two.
It's not
He's
a new
going.
owner, right? It's like he owned the quarter. It's,
He's only
Glazers
going
still
to
own the
own
club.
25%. Yes, but I'm guessing it's better than just the Glazers being in charge. Hopefully, we don't know because Qatar is not happening. That is for sure. Everybody knows that Qatar they have pulled the plug and they won't be part of this ownership race anymore. So it's going to be Jim Ratcliffe, and he's going to own 25%. Now, I think the most interesting part for us to see is with that 25%, how much stake he's going to have in the say when
How
it
much
comes
does it
to
have a say? Yeah.
actual sport, like the football, not the commercial deals, not the other stuff, but the actual sport, right? Because I think that is what is lacking in Manchester United. It has become a social media club. I mean, even yesterday when I was like scrolling through Instagram, I saw I think 3 posts about Alejandro Garnacho's like goal. Like they're still like rolling that. I don't know for what. Clearly cannot read the room, and it's not the admin's fault who is posting that. It's obviously his boss, so fired the boss first. But it kind of seems like the agenda is always there that we should engage our fans regardless of
Yeah.
whether it's
Like
positive or negative.
you're pretending that everything is all right, but
Yeah, but
it's
the
not.
fans are not stupid, right? And that's where
Yeah,
I
no
think
one's
they should
stupid.
stop, but they will not stop because at the end of the day, I was just looking at the comments, and 95% of the comments are negative, where they're saying, read the room, fire the admin, fire this guy, why are they pulling this? But that is also engagement, right? You're getting one comment in. And Instagram as a company, or like Meta as a company, they're going to pay you based on those metrics that people are engaging with you, and that's how they make the revenue at the end of the day. So it is that bad where they are okay with also getting slandered because that gives them money,
Yeah.
and obviously they are
Yeah,
behind the screen.
I think
They are
even
behind it.
even a lot of your players also follow the same lines. I like because I every time see
100%.
like whenever Rashford drops a stinker, he's doing some charity work and he posts it on online. And then
Yeah.
there's Sancho clubbing outside. I think he doesn't even care anymore. I don't think his heart is in United anymore. I think that
Yeah,
ship has
exactly. I
sailed.
mean, we'll touch upon Rashford, of course, because he was a part of that loss against Newcastle. But speaking of Jadon Sancho, I kind of understand that he can do whatever he wants, I guess. Like
Yeah, of
the
course.
the decision from Erik Ten Hag is he's not going to play him, and he's obviously going to be either loaned out or sold in January or in the summer anyway. So I'm pretty sure if Erik Ten Hag somehow survives this season, we will not see
And and
Jadon
this is a
Sancho
and this
back.
is probably the problem with United, that you buy like a big money signing, and the signing fades out in 1 or 2 years. Such a temporary thing. And this player was the player you waited for 2, 3 seasons, I guess. He was being
Yeah, at least two seasons.
talked
Yeah,
about,
for
yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you didn't buy him that summer, or something happened, and then you bought him the next summer. And this was
yeah,
a
yeah.
player who the United fan anticipated to be the next big thing, and it didn't work out. Like there's and it happened with so many players at United. I don't know if it's like too many changes in managers, or is the not the right mentality at the club. Like one rotten apple leads to many. Is it that? I don't know.
It
What's
has to
your thought?
be like the mentality thing. I think Sancho, regardless of how talented he is as a player, I don't think when it comes to being a team player, like basic stuff like showing up on time, uh,
Oh yeah, I heard
putting in
this.
the hard work, it's not there. Nemanja Matic,
Was
right? He
yeah,
he came
Matic
out,
told about Pogba and Sancho, right?
and this was during Solskjaer's era, right? So this was like 3 years ago. So so imagine if that is what Sancho is doing in his first season, the season when Ronaldo and Varane came. He's showing up late to the training ground. He's not turning up when he's supposed to. And now that Erik Ten Hag has inherited, obviously, like part of Solskjaer's squad, and Sancho has to be one of the main players because he's talented. At the end of the day, whether you like him or not, he is talented. Pretty similar to Pogba. Uh, he's got issues, and we've heard like he has been connected to or linked to these issues back at Dortmund as well, and it's just an attitude problem. And as a player, of course, he's on 300 grand uh, at Manchester United, so he wants to definitely show up every day, but at the same time, if he's not ready to follow some rules, you know have those etiquettes. It's a team sport at the end of the day, right? So you need to build a team. If there are no rules, if there are no structure around the team in terms of when you show up, how you train, build that relationship, that bond, it's not going to happen. And yeah, that's why I think that when it comes to clubs like City, Liverpool, or Arsenal, there is some structure in the background that is there to sustain uh, the it's almost like the backbone of the club, right? Where you have certain rules, you have certain expectations which are there. In Manchester United, I don't think there are any set expectations. Everything is like as you go, like you make things up, right? And obviously there's always a reset when there's a new manager in charge. Whenever you get a new manager, they come with their own coaching staff, and they have their own rules, they have their own way of working, their style, and that also takes time for people to get used to. And of course, if you have you know these reports on Pogba and Sancho, if they don't turn up on time in training, I mean, you can just imagine how they respond to other things which are more complicated and tactical and strategic on the field. So yeah, I mean, it's always been there, and these leaks, they've been coming in and out. I mean, now it's Matic. I think a year back it was somebody else. I think Alexis Sanchez also said some stuff when he left, saying
Do
that
you do you
people
think
don't
the
train.
players don't like the playing style? Like, could that be a thing?
I mean, I don't really care, to be honest. Like I have never imagined, like, in a sport, like, think of a sport where the players are saying, "Oh, I don't like this style. I don't want to play like this." I mean, that's not their job, right? They're supposed to like follow instructions and give their best. I know that football has become complicated as a sport in the last 5 6 years. It's become more tactical. It's become more like transitive in nature in terms of positioning, how you're supposed to play, than it used to be. But at the same time, they're still football players, right? Certain things like tracking back, running with the ball, dribbling, shooting. These are like general skills that you need as a football player, right? And what we are seeing right now is Manchester United are lacking in those front. I mean, we are not tracking back. We are not trying to cover up. We are not taking those spaces that we are supposed to. These are basic skills for a football player when you're on the pitch. I mean, this is not advanced techniques. So when players say that, oh, I don't like this technique, it might be an advanced technique, but look at them. When they're playing on the field, they're not doing basic stuff, and that's where my complaint is. Like, as a player, your job is to do your best, like based on your skill set. I mean, of course, as a player, you want to develop as well and become better in terms of getting new skills or being more intelligent around how you want to play. But when you're playing for a club, a huge responsibility is also to perform for the club, right? And the performance is, when it comes to strategy and anything related to tactics, that is not their job. The job is for the manager, for
Yeah.
the maybe whoever is
What
director of football,
what
which should
I
come top down from there.
what I've always thought about like Manchester United, they have this a very core group of English players, and these players, I feel that they can get away with anything. They could get away with bad performances. Rashford, okay, one season he does really well and he gets a 350 year uh, what
Yeah,
contract, 350 pounds, 350,000 pounds contract, and then he's immortal at the club. So and I think in the Premier League, the English players have this. They are the more like they think they are the more the glamorous players. Like they could just get anything done by the power of the media. I think even Jordan Henderson in our club, although he was a very good professional, I feel he had some power in the media. He could manipulate the media to, get those some he got some links out that he Atletico Madrid, PSG were interested in him and he
hmm
got a big contract out of it. And I feel the English players tend to do this. And what you will notice, except for Man City, I think Man City have a good group of English players. Apart from that, you see Arsenal and Liverpool and a lot of other clubs. They don't have a lot of English players in the team. I think Manchester United have a lot, and they're like the more popular ones. They have the more popular ones, the headline makers, and I think they feel that they have a sense of entitlement that whatever they do, they are superior to the manager. They have
yep,
probably a core group among themselves. Okay, we don't want to listen to the manager. We don't care what the manager says. And the body language is so poor. Like, I don't know, like seeing Rashford the other day, I thought like this is a player who has come through your ranks and he doesn't care. He doesn't seem like he wants to win you the game. Like you would see Trent, for example. He just got hold of the game, and the other day you would see Saka, for example. These players just, since they have come through the system, they understand they understand the ethos of the club and everything. And I'm very surprised Rashford doesn't react to it somehow. You would see like a big stretch every season, I feel, except for maybe the last season. I feel the Rashford has a big stretch of games where you just don't recognize him
hmm
as the player he can be. And that should not happen from a top professional, I feel.
no,
And I feel it
absolutely.
just comes down to the attitude of, and it's mostly the English player. I don't think you would hear Casemiro do being unprofessional or Varane or I don't know your other players. Like for example, Garnacho, he's playing so well. He's trying. Even Bruno Fernandes, I feel you won't hear any leaks about him. I think these overseas players are the ones who are probably cultured to be, you know, very professional about what they were. They love playing football. I guess that's how they grew up. And the English players, I think, like they feel that they have a sense of entitlement just because they're born and bred in this country where Manchester United plays. I don't know if you have similar thoughts like that because
No,
it
absolutely.
usually comes from the English players
Yep,
mostly.
and it's always been that way. And I mean, of course, we are a bit heavy on the number of British players that we have, and the United squad. And you mentioned Jordan Henderson as well. And I'm sure, like if Liverpool had let's say 3 or 4 more British players who were starters in the English team, it would happen to you as well. And it is like that. I mean, there was this trend back in Solskjaer's era where he was just trying to just buy British players for some reason. I don't know why. I remember this news back in the day where they wanted to get rid of Victor Lindelof and pair Harry Maguire with an English defender because that in that way they can form that trust, that bond, because both of them are
I think
English or
it
British.
could be also down to the fact that probably the English players attract more social media interests, and I don't
Of
know if
course,
Manchester United function like that. They think in that way that okay, we need to have a set of English players just to get social
yeah, yeah,
media
yeah.
likes,
No,
social media revenue.
that can be a way of looking at it. And again, like it's the English Premier League as well, right? So if the Manchester United fans can get behind English player who are wearing the Manchester United jersey, that's even better, because when it comes to communication or whatever, like brand deals or media, it just works even better and for them, right? Why is Marcus Rashford so popular? It's because he's English. He's definitely from the academy, but he's also like done these charity work. He's done some work with even Barack
He's the
Obama as well,
MBE
like
also. He's the
MBE
MBE.
as well, right? So, and he's a brand. He's not just a footballer. He's definitely a brand. Regardless of his performance on the pitch, he has got that clout around him, which means people will listen to him. People will watch him. Do whatever he wants to do. So that has always existed, and there's also this news that one of the agendas that Ratcliffe has is to invest more on British players. I mean, this came out from a news source, I think a week back. I'm not sure how credible that is because, again, like the Ratcliffe deal has not been
You have
formalized and
enough,
he's
I
not.
feel. Like you didn't need Mount in the first place. I don't know if you could have
Yep.
just got anyone for much cheaper and probably player more you needed. Like, say you went for Mason Mount, which is another popular English player in the
Yep.
English setup
100%. Yep.
who
And
can
now,
have more
speaking
influence than
of,
the manager.
I mean, I don't know about Mount. It's too early to say. And again, like,
Yeah, they are close
I
friends like Rashford, Mount, and they all form Sancho and
Sancho,
Harry
yeah.
Maguire,
Hmm.
and they probably form a clique. Like you see in the movies, the form a clique and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not happy with the manager. And I don't know if it would have been same with Pep Guardiola and Klopp because you have and just like an intrinsic set of respect for them. Uh, but could have happened. I'm not very sure, but that's why probably Klopp doesn't prefer these hot star like the big shot English players.
Right, right.
And even with Pep Guardiola, I don't think he has Grealish. But probably that's because he's Pep Guardiola. Just you just respect him anyway, and he can do anything. Like he, you, Man City is a big club. Man City have a lot of money. Even if it's Cristiano Ronaldo who doesn't listen to him, he can just ask him to just get your bags packing and go.
Hmm.
And
I,
I
I
don't
I
think the
think at
players
the end
at
of the
Manchester.
day, I think at the end of the day, it's all about balance. So even if you have like a player who's, let's say for example, like Jadon Sancho, who's not showing up on time and all that, but if the other players around him are quite opposite to him in a positive way, then there is a huge possibility that this player will improve, or at least like they won't be able to go on social media and slack off the manager and
Yeah,
just sit
yeah.
back, play FIFA
Imagine
and
that.
whatever.
Like so that's how you understand that there's a like severe lack of respect for the manager that you go on
Yep.
social media and just write anything about it and not
Yeah, and,
discuss
and and
about
that's
it
that
personally.
and that's not just down to the player. I think it's social media as well. I mean, we've all seen Cristiano Ronaldo start that, right, a season before that, where he slacked off not just Erik Ten Hag, but also like other Manchester United officials. And again, like, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the idea of going to like an interview, and or whether it's social
Yeah,
media or talking to Piers Morgan and just saying, hey, I don't trust this manager, that's a you shouldn't do that, right? There's some lines that you don't cross. And I think those lines are getting blurry as we live in today's date where social media, everybody has access to say whatever they want. So I don't think it's just down to the player. It's also about the influence of social media, and of course, it's a very complicated situation because, let's talk about like the match on the weekend, which was absolutely diabolical for me. I mean, I
Yeah,
wasn't sad to be honest
New
because I
Newcastle
had
could have won like 5-6.
yeah,
Yeah,
and not
they were
just
that
five
good.
six. Even before the match, I was 100% sure we were going to lose this. In all the WhatsApp groups that I am at, Manchester United, non Manchester United, I had said that I'm 100% ready to lose 3 points here because there is no way in hell after that performance against Copenhagen where we were 3-1 up and also like 2-0 up and we went down 3-3. We are not going to magically come back, go to St. James's Park and beat Newcastle. There was no way. I mean, yeah, maybe we could come off with 1 point in a draw or something like that, but there was no way that we were going to beat them. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised to see that kind of a performance where it could have easily been like 3-0 in first half and then maybe a couple of more in the second half. But I think from a Newcastle perspective, they don't have good finishes. I think they
Yeah,
seriously lack.
Almiron and
Uh, yeah, I don't really trust Almiron. I mean, he's good, but he's not like that
yeah,
clinical
he could have
finisher.
scored 2 goals like if he was a good finisher.
Exactly. And I also feel like they were a little like jet lag from the trip
Tired,
to
yeah.
Paris. That was like a very tough game for them where they defended, I think, for 80 minutes or something like that. So they were also like on the back of it. But what a performance by Newcastle, right? Anthony Gordon. I mean, this guy was in Everton. Nobody cared about him. You're a Liverpool fan, so you probably didn't care about him too. But look at him. Like, he kept on running. I mean, I don't care about. Uh, how skillful or how tenacious. I mean, everybody from the Newcastle team were tenacious. Everybody was running their ass off, putting in the effort compared to Manchester United, who were just like giving up. Just letting the other player go by, not tracking back, not chasing, not even running. We barely had like a couple. I think we had 2 or 3 shots in the whole game, and which is like absolutely embarrassing because it
I
just
can
seems
feel
like
like I
there's no
can feel for
bounce.
Hoyland like
Yeah,
heard so many times from the Mark Goldbridge channel that the United striker is a graveyard shift, and it is true. Like I don't know
yep.
how you don't create many chances. Like I'm not surprised he's not got goals. He's not got a goal in the Premier League, right? Not yet. Am I don't know. Maybe
I
one.
don't
I
think
don't know.
so. No, no, no. I don't
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, that was there
So
was a
I
goal,
don't
but
think
it
it's
was
his
ruled
fault.
offside or something.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think it's his fault. Like I've seen United play and they don't create anything for him. It's either a spectacular goal by Bruno or a spectacular goal by Garnacho or someone running down the wing and somehow getting a goal against the run of play. And I know it's tough for
And it's
United
always
fans to
been
watch.
like that. I think it's been like that since the even like during the Cavani days, it was the same thing. Like you would not get service, you'll only get like very few chances. Cavani was an elite player. I think as a striker, he knew when to drop back, when to
Yeah,
facilitate that play pretty similar to Harry Kane and the greats out there. Of course, like Rasmus Højlund is 20, and this is probably his biggest break, and he's supposed to like learn on the job and get better. So and this is the first time we have gotten like a long-term striker who we can nurture and grow in the club. So it will take some time, and you also have to understand like
yeah. That's why I
even
don't
like
blame him.
Alejandro Ganacho, right? Ganacho is not really a winger who's going to pass. He's always trying to score. I mean, forget about Rashford and Antony. I mean, these are not your usual wingers who are going to feed the striker. These are wingers who are trying to cut in and take a shot, or somehow they're just trying to be very attack minded when they're going forward. So that has always been an issue. And before these three players we had Jadon Sancho, which I think he's better than these three in terms of facilitating or assisting or feeding the
Yeah,
striker.
yeah.
But unfortunately, well, that bridge is broken. And before that it was Greenwood again. He's more of an attacking winger who's more like a striker rather than a facilitator who's going to give you assists or feed the striker at the inside the penalty box. So I think we lack those players, and the reason why the the striker position is has always been, and most particularly like in the match on the weekend, it was a graveyard shift, is because we don't have players who are creating those chances, right? I mean, you have Scott McTominay like on the midfield. I mean, what do you expect from him? The only
Those
expectation that you
those
have is he's going to like maybe pop in
for a
the
worldie.
yeah, what I mean, yeah, header is not a worldie, but yeah, that's all he can do. So he's gonna be in the penalty box doing it. I mean, I don't know if you watched the match, but in the last like 5 minutes, our forwards were Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire, and that just shows you like what kind of goals we are trying to get out from the match. We didn't do uh, anything throughout the match. We were absolutely rubbish, and the idea is
Like
like
when
in the
Liverpool used to throw on Steven Corker as striker.
exactly, and we did it against Brentford as well, right? McTominay scored a couple in injury time, and we won that game. So similar to that, was that our strategy all along? Like I don't really know because we didn't create any chances, we didn't create anything, and we just lucky that we lost 1-0. It could have been. I mean, if we were playing City or Liverpool, it would be more than three. I can assure you that, and everybody
Yeah,
knows
even
that.
I think I don't know if you'll have a recent change of form, but I would be if I was a United fan, I would be very scared of the match at Anfield.
Well, I'll be flying that
I
day, so I won't be watching the match. So it's good for me. I'll land to my home country, to my home city, and check the match, and then turn off my phone
You're
and
like, okay,
go to
okay.
sleep.
Oh, that's the score. Okay, bye. It's
Yeah.
all good.
So not the best homecoming present, but I mean, yeah, it's
What
not
did you
going to be
think of
painful.
Keane's comment on Martial? I don't know if you've seen it.
Well, yeah, I saw. I think Martial tends to be like a clear and obvious target for everyone, because
Is
I
this a
mean,
player you should have sold a long time back? I
yeah,
feel it
yeah,
is.
100%. We under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we gave him a new 4 year or 5 year contract, and that was the blunder that we made. We should have definitely moved him on during that point of time. And I know it was during the COVID, and maybe with the salary he was on, it was almost impossible to sell him. But giving him a fresh new contract, I don't think that was like the good idea. And since then, he's been locked in. I mean, the only reason why we cannot sell him is obviously he's got a horrible injury record. Everybody knows about that. But he's also on 200 or 250 grand a week. So who's going to buy a Martial who's been in the club for? Actually, he's going to complete 9 years now. So that's there as well. So he's been in the club for 9 years. He's barely scored like I don't know, like 5 to 6 goals in the last 3 years, and he's on 250 grand with a very bad
Horrible
injury
injury
record. I
record.
mean, yeah, who's going to buy him, right? So he's always been one of those players who's been difficult to sell from a club's perspective. But giving him that contract on the Solskjaer, along with giving uh, Phil Jones a contract. So Phil Jones and him, both of them got the contract together under Solskjaer for God knows why. I mean, to be fair, Marshall had a decent season during the COVID, span.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he
that's what
scored
I'm
15
saying.
goals,
Like,
but yeah,
you just don't hand out contracts if just a player does well one
yeah.
season. Like, you gotta be smart about it, and that's I think United have like piled up so many errors from the start. Like, it's just difficult, and they're
And we are
looking
still
for a
making
short term.
errors. We are still
Yeah, because
making
you're looking
errors.
for a
We're buying
short
Anthony
term
for
fix.
80. We're buying Anthony for 80. We are buying Mason Mount for God knows what. And we have bloated like contracts everywhere, even Sancho, right? I mean, I know it was not an Erik Ten Hag signing, but I mean, he bought Anthony for 80. So, I mean, I guess the question is like, why is he buying players who are not worth so much money as well? So that's a big question mark as well. And I'm pretty
That's
sure Anthony,
I think the first
his buy.
I think the only solution is, after the change of ownership, you get the proper people in. The sporting director has to be first. Let Ratcliffe invest whatever he can, and build slowly, and unravel all of the mistakes one by one. And if you think like you were gonna go for a short-term fix, I think you bring a lot more problems along with it.
Right.
I think short-term fixes are you have to. I think you have to go through the pain which we went through for 30 years. I think you have to go not maybe not 30 years, but I think you have got to go through a significant amount of pain before you come back.
It's already been
Like,
10 years, so I don't know how long it's going to take.
yeah,
But
for I
but
think
yeah,
Liverpool and
I
Arsenal fans know what the pain is.
no, I
And I
completely agree with you. Like in terms of the shithousery that is going on in the club, and like you said, like mistakes getting piled on to a point where it's just a stack of shit. It's already there, and we are still not making good decisions, right? Which is really alarming. We are still making bad decisions and buying wrong players or investing in the wrong area or playing the wrong players. Like say for example, like from the Newcastle match, there was this instance where Erik Ten Hag was actually shouting at Antony Martial for not uh, you know chasing, I think it was Anthony Gordon or something, so just tracking back. But he's also the same guy who's going to play Marcus Rashford like every game he's starting. Why is he starting? He should be benched, right? So that's where my questions lie with Erik Ten Hag. Like, what is he trying to do? Why is there sort of this? Why is he being partial towards one player and not, because he did say publicly that that Jadon Sancho did not perform well in training, and that's why he was dropped. Right? He did not hold himself back, saying that. But he doesn't do that for Rashford. I mean, Rashford might be great in training, but when he's on the pitch, he's absolutely horrible. Like it's horrible to watch.
yeah.
His body
Yeah,
language is
it's
absolutely
his body language is like makes you like if it was my player, I would have just it would have made my blood boil. Like I would have been so I like thrown something at him, like
right. Yeah,
just
yeah.
that kind of a body language he has.
And if you
And
look
yeah,
at him, like he's got social media presence, he's always got a new hairstyle with new hair color. It almost seems like this guy who's supposed to be a Manchester lad from the academy came out in a very like academy kind of like breakthrough fashion under Louis Van Gaal, scored in the Europa League, and it just seems like he's lost. He's lost. He's in a different space right now, and he's totally been blindsided with all of this fame or all of the other things that
yeah,
he's supposed to do than football, and he doesn't care. And that's really like difficult to see as a United fan. I mean, forget about getting rid of Rashford or improving Rashford. It's just how do we live with this person? Uh, we are going to face Chelsea tomorrow. So let's talk about Chelsea. Is he going to start Marcus Rashford again? What happens if he starts him again? People are going to like lose their minds if they see Rashford again. Everybody hates Rashford right now. You cannot name a
yeah.
single person who watches football
But
say
who do
that,
you
oh,
start on
Marcus
the
Rashford
right?
should be.
Is Hoyland fit? I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, Hoyland is fit. I don't think Anthony Martial will start. It should
Then who do
be
you start on the right?
it's gonna be Anthony, right? Has to be
Anthony is fit.
Anthony. Yeah, yeah, he's fit. He's fit.
Yeah, so I
So
think then you should go for Hoyland, Garnacho, and Anthony. I think those are your best options right now.
that should be the starting lineup. I'm not really sure about whether. I mean, I don't want Rashford, but I feel he's going to play Rashford. I mean, I don't see why he's going to drop
I
him. It's
think
just
like
weird.
if like sometimes if you drop these players, they instigates the fire in them, and I hope that's the case for Rashford. Like just drop him and bring him on as a
I
sub,
don't
man.
think it works the same way in United. I mean, if you drop them, they leak to the media and they create this conspiracy theory against the manager. It's different in United. If you drop them, they're going to come after your job because probably somebody has done that in the past and it has worked. So they are like, yeah, why don't we do it and get rid of
And
the manager
how
because I want to
and
play.
this is so surprising that the United players, like we spoke about, these English players have so good connection with the media. Like, and we just saw on Twitter recently that some players have leaked some information that the
Yeah, yeah,
50% of the players don't want the manager, and to Samuel Luckhurst and who else? Sky Cave, whatever his name, Sky Cave or whatever
yeah.
this
Yeah, they were
guy's
banned
name
from
is.
the press conference. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how did these people get the information? Like, you don't hear Liverpool, Arsenal, City, or any other club just leaking
No,
information. Yeah,
it's
it might happen.
You're right about the English or the British, like the connection. I think that's the main reason, and you also have to understand how these information are actually leaked. It's not like the player who's going to the reporter and saying, "Hey, do you know this happened?" It's either the agent or some of the
Yeah.
family members or close
But
friends, right?
this is what happens. Like I think Klopp, having I don't know if you've been for like knowing how Liverpool work, and I think with Klopp, he's been quite blatant about this. Like if he doesn't like someone's agent, they don't approach him. So this, I think United, when they sign a player, they should have enough background check. I don't think United have that. I
No,
think City, when they
pretty
sign
sure
a
they don't.
player, they have enough
I don't think
background
we
check.
have
Like I think
any
it's
background check. We only check how popular they are on social media.
yeah.
That's the only check we do.
I mean, it's not about how good you play anymore. It's how what family do you belong to and how what
Yeah, yeah,
agent you have. And uh, City, Liverpool, they don't mess around if the agent is not a good one. They don't go near the player. Even if it's like a world beater of a player, they won't go near him. And
yep.
this is probably how we sustain the happiness and the the well-being of the club. And and I
No,
I, I
absolutely
think
agree.
if
I
if
I
this
I, I
happened
feel
on
like
Pep Guardiola
Mhm.
or Jurgen Klopp, I think even if it's Rashford, he gets booted from the club. I think
it's
that's
it's
how it
it's
is.
the structure, right? It's the structure. It's not just the manager, because the manager can have a set of rules, but if the board doesn't
Yeah,
back
yeah,
it, if the
yeah,
culture
yeah.
is not there, it's never going to happen. Why did Sir Alex Ferguson last so long, and why did he have such a good run? Because he was backed by this then CEO and whoever was supporting him, the
Yeah,
coaching
this is what
areas,
I
right?
feel like the board now, the board and the current players feel that they are more powerful than the manager. While during this times of Sir Alex, like everyone used to fear Sir Alex. Even the referees used to fear. I'm sure the
Mhm.
players used to fear. I think
Yep.
Cristiano Ronaldo used to fear him. And the people who just spoke behind his back, like even David Beckham, I think, who
Yeah,
spoke
yeah.
behind his back, got sold. And
Of
that's
course, yeah.
how,
That was always like there, because the manager had control over everything else. And now what has happened is, I think everybody knows that Manchester United is probably the worst run club, like
yeah,
one of the biggest worst run club in the history of the sport. And everybody knows about it, whether it comes to transfer, whether it comes to just management, whether it comes to playing football, obviously. uh, it's really really badly run. And the problem is that the people who are in charge, they are there for the money. They are not actually there for um changing how we play or restructuring the club. They're just milking the cow. And the Glazers are still going to be there, and that's why Qatar was not given a chance to improve it. They didn't sell it to Qatar, because they still think that they can make more money out of this, that the club is going to have a better value in the next 3 or 4 years. And that's why it's been sold to somebody who's also British, who's also like taken a minority stake, who's also going to work with the Glazers.
yeah.
And nobody knows what's
But
going to happen in the future.
but I hope like the only way you can come back is just give Ratcliffe like what we heard previously from David Ornstein and all. Give him the power for the control of the players and the management. Let the Glazers make the money and the business side of the deals, the social media stuff, whatever they want to do, sign the brand deals or whatever. But give power of the sporting, and I hope Ratcliffe makes the correct decisions. Otherwise, I don't know how you get back. And this is
Yeah, we
even
don't
with
get back.
Ratcliffe, I think it's gonna take I think minimum of 3-4 years of pain, minimum of 3-4 years of pain if he does all the things correctly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree about that. I am pretty certain, like the day I knew that that Ratcliffe might win, or he's in the race. I knew for a fact that if Qatar don't end up buying Manchester United, we will not be like challenging for the league in the next 5 years. It is not possible. Whether you look at it from a point of view of having that culture in the club, whether you look at it from a point of view of the squad depth, our best players are over 30 or nearing 30. Where is the replacement, right? I think somebody you or somebody else like mentioned that in one of the shows as well, and it's a very valid point. We keep talking about the drama at United, the scores and everything, but this is also very valid point where the squad is aging. Like our best players, Ericsson, Fernandez, Casemiro, Varane, these are all like close to 30 or 30 plus, right? Who are going to be the replacements, right? We don't have that. We have players like Rashford, who's completely lost in his clout, not performing, taking so much money. Same with Jadon Sancho, same with some other people as well. Mason Mount is new. Hopefully he's going to be good for the club, but nobody knows what he's going to do because either he's injured or the manager doesn't know where to play him. So there's so many things to solve, right? And these things take a lot of time, and we've all seen how difficult it is to try and sell a United player in the transfer market. Nobody wants to go because they're on great salary, they have contacts with the media. Why would they want to go? It's almost like
And the clubs and the big clubs, the Bayerns, the I don't think any big club in our league would take these players on anymore
yep,
because they all know about him and they don't want a rotten apple. And even the Bayerns and the Real Madrid, they also have enough background checks on these people to buy them. I think the only way is to, sell to a Juventus or AC Milan, and
Saudi.
that's like you
You have
uh,
you have the
or the
Saudis,
Saudi,
right?
yeah, yeah. Now this
And
you have the Saudi, yeah, yeah. That's
yeah,
your
so for
outlet, I
good
feel.
or yeah, for good and for good or for worse, I mean the Saudis are there, and maybe that is one of the reasons why people like Sancho, they don't want to improve, they don't want to rectify, because they know at the end of the day I can go to the Saudi Pro League and get paid
But
millions and
but then don't
play
you
there.
think you lose your English place as well? The team in the English squad. I don't know. I respect Sterling for no, like I actually think Sterling is not a football man, but I respect him. He went to Chelsea. He's doing well, fairly well. I think he should come back into the English setup. And this is I don't know. This is how he's trained under Pep Guardiola to be a winner. Even if it's
Right.
yes, Chelsea, he's still playing well, even though Chelsea are not.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I think we should come back to the game. And where is the game? Is it at Old Trafford?
That's a good question. I hope it's not. I mean, it doesn't even matter. I don't.
I mean,
It's at Old
I think
Trafford. It's at Old Trafford. Yeah, it's at Old Trafford. So
I
I
Chelsea
don't
are in
really
form,
know.
some sort of
I
form. Not
mean,
not,
if there's one big team that we can beat in this horrible form, it has to be Chelsea. So
but they are playing
hopefully,
well. They played well against Brighton. They won against
yeah.
Brighton.
I mean, it's Chelsea. They are also very inconsistent. The only reason why they are not in the limelight of criticism is because Ten Hag and United are having an equally horrible time, and that's why, like, I think Chelsea and Pochettino, they are like probably not bothered. And of course, like, this is Pochettino's first season as well, so obviously with whatever happened last season and the season before that, he needs time to integrate and
But he
find out
has
the way
been
of.
it now slowly. I think Chelsea are coming to their forward match or like how Pochettino wants to play. I think they miss a lot of chances. I think that's their first problem that they cannot finish.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they do create a lot of chances, and I think if they step up for the big game, you could see another upset at Old Trafford. I won't be surprised, and I feel personally this is going to be a draw because I think all of the last meetings have been draws. Am
yeah.
I
I was just
correct?
gonna say that historically, I think we don't like whenever we face off with Chelsea, the scoreline is basically a draw or a 1-0 or something like that. There are not a lot of goals like involved. I think there was this one game last season where there were a lot of goals, but then yeah, but
Yeah,
I
4-1.
think that game was an outlier because Chelsea were in shambles back then. They're definitely in a better position this year, with Nick Jackson, with Sterling coming back at form. Uh, is
Cole
Reece James
Palmer.
there, or did Reece James get a red card? I don't know, but yeah,
Reece
at least
James
he's
is
not
not
injured.
probably Reece James is probably suspended,
Yeah,
and
but he's
you
not
have
injured, so he's there for the next game, obviously. From
Gallagher
a
is not
United,
there. You won't
yeah, I
have
mean,
Gallagher.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a low scoring match, and as far as United is concerned, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's gonna be the opposite. I think Chelsea are playing with the style that they want to figure themselves out, and they're just gonna go gung ho. I think even if they lose on the counter, And I feel this match particularly, I think even if you don't like seeing it, United fans don't like seeing it, I think you should play on the counter. I think you can really catch Chelsea off on the
Well, that's
counter.
the only way we can play anyway. So I don't think that's going to be a
I think
problem.
this match is set up. I think United can win, but also if Chelsea take their chances early, I
Yeah.
think we could see another big
Well, the only
scoreline.
hope is that it's at Old Trafford, right? I think that's why I sort of feel positive. Like even like from last weekend, like Newcastle, if we were playing at Old Trafford, I would still say like we can probably get away with a draw or something. But I knew we were going to lose because it's at St James's Park and they have an excellent record over there. But I think the
Yeah,
only time they've lost is thanks to Liverpool and 10-man Liverpool. So that was an interesting and a crazy game, anyways. So. So yeah, for Chelsea, I think I would say a 1-0 like victory, hopefully to United, because
I
that's
think
how
you
many
guys
goals
will win
these
3-2, 3-2.
3-2. Wow, that's like super exciting. Whenever you
Because
say
I
3-2,
think,
it seems
yeah.
like Onana fucking things up at the back.
But I think you're gonna win 3-2. That's what I'm saying. But I think like Chelsea will go gung ho, and there'll be a lot of space to
Right.
exploit on the counter. And I think if Rashford is up to his like,
I hope he
if
doesn't
he's,
play, but yeah,
I think he's got the pace to hurt Chelsea. That's the only thing I see.
right.
And I think this game is suited for you guys to play on the counter. I think most of the times you have played Chelsea in the past, you have
Mhm.
resorted to playing counter attacking, and it
That's been
works
our
for
style
United.
mostly.
Yeah, but I think because I've been seeing Chelsea in the past few weeks after they got a little better, and they have been, very a possession dominant team, but also they are now taking risks where they are leaving themselves exposed at the back. Even versus Brighton, I was seeing even with 10 men, they were pretty much exposed at the back, but they got the job done somehow. They are a threat attacking wise, and they are risking it for the defensive. In the defense, like they're risking for the chances they concede.
Right.
So I think United, if they have a solid defense, I think United will get enough chances to score. And I
Well, we
think
don't have a
the
solid defense. We have Harry Maguire and Lindelof, so
he's been playing
that's the
well.
word.
I
Harry
don't know
Maguire
if you
has
can
been
critic.
decent. Maguire has been decent, but I don't trust Lindelof. So we might see Luke Shaw at centre back, which means again like either a Regulon on left back, which is again like not good defensively, and a Dallo on the right hand side, which is again like not good defensively. So defensively we've not been great, and of course the goalkeeper is also like having a
Oh yeah, yeah. I
not
hope
too
he
great
doesn't
form. So,
screw
but
up.
let's see.
I hope he doesn't screw up. And yeah, I'm going for a 3-2 United win. I don't know about you.
I'll go for 1-0, a conservative signature Manchester United under Erik Ten Hag this season win 1-0.
Save the job for
Uh,
another week. The
Scott
save the job
McTominay,
for.
Scott McTominay deflected goal somehow, and Harry Maguire assist. Let's see.
You're calling on the gods.
Yep. Lord Harry, save us.
Thank you for watching that video. We are a community of passionate football fans and we post weekly videos on transfer news, match reactions, tactical analysis, and sometimes just gossip on the most exciting sport in the world. If that's what you like to hear, then hit that subscribe button and join the conversation with us.